Welcome, folks. This is Tom O'Brien of TFNN. We go 5 days a week. We go 9 hours a day. We go 24 hours a day on the internet at TFNN.com. Always remember, folks, whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows. Hope everyone had a great day, safe day. And of course, I want all tigers and tigresses, folks. Let's send a lot of great white light up to the East Coast. They had a rough 48 hours here, but they're getting their way out of it. Let's take a look at one of our 4 agreements. Cultivate wisdom. You don't need to accumulate knowledge to become wise. Anyone can become wise. When you become wise, you respect your body, you respect your mind, and you respect your soul. When you become wise, your life is controlled by your heart, not your head. What we have here, folks, is that markets will open up tomorrow. Futures were opened at 5 o'clock last night. I believe they'll more than likely they'll open up again tonight. Bottom line is that what you have is this. If we take a look at, we go over to the FTSE first. We'll go over to Europe. We get some clues as to what we have happening. You had the FTSE up $54 today. Now we're at 58.49. FTSE, guess what? Wants to go run for that 58.93 area. Now, that's where we came down, and we came down hard, folks, on the 23rd of October. What I do expect, though, in our own markets is that this is the B to a C. We're going to bounce tomorrow of an ABC structure on the way down. FTSE saying that if the FTSE wants to get up to that top of the 13th. DAX. The DAX in Germany, what we have in Germany is this. Germany also went higher today. We're up $81. We're at 78.84. Now, the way the DAX is set up, exact same deal. Now, what the difference is this. The FTSE didn't have any volume going up into that level. The DAX had an expansion of volume. Not enough, but it had an expansion of volume. The DAX is at 72.84. That wants to run into 73.49. If we go, let's go over to Asia, because Asia, of course, is going to be open in a few hours. What we had last night in Asia is that we had the Nikkei down 1%. Hang Seng was off 0.3. You had Shanghai up 0.1. Let's go to the Nikkei first, because the Nikkei has been a strong market. That's with the yen getting weaker. What we had with the Nikkei last night, she was down 87 at 88.41. And it's going to be interesting. She had some volume come into her. So this is still going to be a challenge. Nikkei last night is down 1.4 billion. She's going into 1.39. You know, that's Nikkei is that's saying though she wants to pull back into this 86.20 level. Let's go take a look at the yen just for a second. We take a look at the yen. What did the yen do? There she is. It's amazing. The correlation is about as direct as you can get. The yen had quite a night last night, folks. The yen traded from a high of 80.14 to a low of 79.38. Bottom line, now let's go over to our own markets. Okay, so the S&P, what can you expect with the S&P? Well, if you've been watching the futures, folks, okay, what you have is this, is that the actual numbers that were put up on many of the screens versus what was going on was deceiving, and this is why. What had happened, let's see, today's Tuesday. Okay, so what had happened on Monday was, even though they were showing that the future, the S&P futures, the minis, they were showing that they closed at 1407. The reality is that those are the last ticks out there. Now, this is the wild thing, folks, okay, is that even though they were the last ticks, they actually did mark the accounts to that number. Okay, so picture this. The India and I last night, we're out shopping, and I hear we're coming home and you hear Bloomberg, and they're saying that the futures are plunging. And I was cognizant of how the futures closed, because I was looking at my account. I said, man, this makes no sense. They close these accounts at the high of the market when they weren't at the highs. Okay, so make a long story short, what they did is this, and I've seen them do this before. They marked them, and it's because no one's in work, and they mark them to the mark. Why? Because then there's not basically calls that are coming out, margin calls. Then what they did is that when they actually opened, they opened where they actually were. And that's what ended up happening. So when they opened last night, they opened down at the 1393 level. Okay? So 13.99, 13.93. It's important to understand, folks, because if you do trade the futures, okay, there's a little field day to be had inside that context, okay? Anyway, what we did have today is that today we had some real trading out there. So we closed the E-minis at 14.11. You'll see this baby's gonna pop very quickly into this 14.23. We'll see whether we can get up into the 14.40, 14.50 area. But I expect that pop is going to be fast. It's going to be furious. Now, what's going to get interesting is that what's going to happen with Apple. The reason being is that what we did have last night is that Apple got rid of two of their, large executives. One of them was in charge of the software development inside the iPad and the iPhone, and the second executive was basically in charge of their retail stores. So you're talking about in one shot, they basically have taken their two most successful deals and said, okay, we're gonna move on. The software deal, if you inside the Journal today, inside the New York Times, that was all about what they claim was all about is that he wouldn't apologize for the maps when the iPhone came out. He said, no, it's not a big deal. Bottom line is that when you lose two people that are that instrumental, meaning the stores are what it's all about, and we know that between the iPhone and the iPad, they changed everything. So we will see how Apple trades in the morning. The way Apple, I suspect it's going to trade up, by the way. And the reason I expect it's going to trade up is this. Apple went from a price point of $700 down to $583. Is it $583? Let's see. $591, okay? Now, you come down there with volume, so you're going to be back down to those levels. But Apple did exactly what it was supposed to do. It come down, it got into the gaps that were out there from July. Now what you'll see is this. You'll see. I expect we're going to see a pop. It's going to pop to somewhere around 623. And what? It's going to be on lighter volume. And that's going to set up a much larger ABC structure on the way down. If we go over and take a look at the 3 Qs, the market is set up for that right now, folks. The market is set up flat out, straight across all the indices to set up a B to a C of an ABC structure on the way down. I do expect, though, that you're going to get a nice little pop. The Qs are right now at 65.35, and what I expect you're going to see with the Qs can get all the way up to 67.10. And on 67.10, let's go over to the NQs and we take a look at 67.10 as to what 67.10 will correlate with in the future market. In the future market, that 67.10 is going to correlate to a nice move. That's a 60-point move for the NQs on the way up. So let me just see something else. It actually might be more than that. 1 second. Yeah, it is more than that. Okay, so that correlates to 27.30. So that correlates to actually an 80-point move. And where I'm going with the NQs, folks, it is the lows of October 9th. That's where I'm going with this deal. If we go over to the small caps, we take a look at the small cap arena. What you have with the small cap arena is that she is at 81.14 right now, and this baby can get into 83.58. What's really going to be neat here, folks, so check this out. This is where, when you coordinate the different marketplaces, all right, particularly that we were closed 2 days, this is where you can get an advantage on probability-wise as to where we're going, and that advantage is only going to be there, really, it'll be there tomorrow and the next day, and this is why. The markets can catch up very quickly being closed. We're closed 2 days. It'll be open tomorrow. That's why we'll get the pop. However, what you want to be watching like a hawk, and Steve will be going over it in the morning, I'll go over it in the morning, is how is the FTSE coming into its swing point? How is the DAX coming into its swing point? Because the way that they are setting up, they're going to tell and talk and walk and squawk, okay? Can they get into their highs? Or, in fact, is going to be another sell at that high. My take is going to be another sell, but guess what? We can wait. We can wait to see how they hit it. They hit it there with lighter volume, reject price, See ya. Don't want to be ya. This is Tom O'Brien. This is TFNN. You stay right there, folks. We're coming right back.